morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today I'm here to tell you that the rotation is confirmed. Now, when I say the rotation is confirmed, I mean that over in Japan, it's properly been confirmed, it's been announced, it is 100% completely and utterly official. We have a proper announcement telling us exactly when it's happening. For the West, we technically don't, but we definitely do. You see, as I showed you earlier today, we have had the reveal of battle partners over in Japan. That is Scarlet and Violet 9. And that is very important because Scarlet and Violet 9 is the first set of year 3 of the Scarlet and Violet block of the Pokémon TCG. The Pokémon TCG works in years. So we have 4 main sets a year plus some mini sets. And essentially, we have year 1 is sets 1 to 4, 2 is 5 to 8, and 3 is 9 to 12. And we see things changing year on year, and it really does work as a year-to-year proposition. And one of the things we have seen for a few years now is that when the first set of the year drops, now in Japan it's actually the first set of the year, in the West it technically isn't, but when the first set of the year drops, we rotate. And that is exactly what I've been telling you is going to be happening for a while now. I told you the other day that the next rotation would be in Japan on the 24th of January, and it has been confirmed officially this morning that the next rotation will be happening in Japan on the 24th of January, which of course is the official release date of Battle Partners. Now, as it stands at the moment, technically, that is the rotation date in Japan. That is not the rotation date in the West. The rotation date in the West is going to be 2 weeks after the release of our equivalent of Battle Partners. Now, the way it works is very important. In Japan, when a set is released, it is legal for tournament play. In the West, we have to wait 2 weeks. So we're not looking at a release date here, we are looking at the legal date. In Japan, the day Battle Partners is legal for tournament play is the day we rotate. That will be the case in the West as well. Because if you remember last year, what happened last year? Well, in Japan, the rotation was the release date, i.e. the legality date, of Wild Force and Cyber Judge, what was for Japan Scarlet and Violet 5. And for us, it was the day that Temporal Forces became legal, which for us was Scarlet and Violet 5. Similarly, if we go back to 2023, the rotation date for Japan was the release date of Scarlet and Violet 1, i.e. the day it became legal, and the rotation date for us was the day that Scarlet and Violet became legal. Technically, it's not been confirmed or announced, but this is one of those things whereby I have to mention, just for the sake of being pedantic and making sure I'm giving you all the information, I have to tell you that technically it's not confirmed and it could change, but no. The day that our equivalent of Battle Partners becomes legal, not the release date, the legality date, 2 weeks after the reveal of our equivalent of our Scarlet and Violet 9, that is going to be our rotation date. We actually rotate at the exact same time as Japan, but instead of being the exact same day, it's the exact same time. It is when the first main set of the year becomes legal for tournament play. Now remember, in the West, our first set of the year is actually going to be the mini set Prismatic Evolutions. Releases on the 17th of January, 1 week before Battle Partners. And I don't want to be that guy, but you see, the problem is I've kind of picked up a bunch of Terrestrial Festival, the Japanese equivalent of Prismatic Evolutions. And I've pulled a bunch of good cards. I'm loving that set. I am now more excited for Battle Partners than I am for Prismatic Evolutions, because I've already had that experience with Terrestrial Festival, and oh my word, Battle Partners looks amazing. But we have the official announcement in Japan, and that is as good as an official announcement over here. It is 99.9% sure to be the day that Battle Partners, or our equivalent thereof, is legal in the West. And it's just like I told you we were definitely getting the Battle Partners reveal this weekend during the Osaka Champions League livestream. This isn't some kind of massive clairvoyant prediction that nobody else could have seen coming. We know this is the way it works. It's been the way it works for years. We know that Pokemon like revealing new sets on live streams, and we had the Osaka live stream 5 weeks before the release of Battle Partners. It was going to be revealed this weekend. We know that Japan rotates when their first set of the year comes out, and we know that we rotate when our first main set of the year becomes legal. So that's what's happening again. Now, in terms of what the rotation is, again, it's exactly what we expect. Instead of regulation mark F onwards, it turns into regulation mark G onwards, which is a much better way of doing it than we used to, because it's really simple. Look in the bottom of the card. Look in the bottom corner of the card, left-hand corner nowadays. There's a little box. It's got a letter in it. If it's G or a letter that comes after G in the alphabet, legal for tournament play. If it's an F or a letter that comes before F in the alphabet, not legal for tournament play. Which, it equates to Scarlet. It's actually quite a clean rotation this year. It equates to Scarlet and Violet on. If it is a card with a silver border, a Scarlet and Violet card, it will be legal for tournament play. If it's got a yellow border and is a Sword and Shield card, it will not be legal for tournament play. Last year we had the really annoying thing with Crown Zenith, whereby in one set we had regulation mark E and regulation mark F cards. So when we rotated to F onwards, we actually had a set which had both E regulation mark cards, I don't know, say Cherubi, and then F regulation mark cards, like, I don't know, Simicia V-Star. I don't know why Cherubi, it was the first E regulation mark I saw when I was looking this morning. Point is, we had one set which had two different regulation marks, made things awkward. That is not the case with our rotation this year. It is a very clean, if it's a Scarlet and Violet card, it's legal. If it's a Sword and Shield card, it is now rotated out. And make no mistake about it, this is going to be a big rotation. Every single V-Star has now rotated, including Lugia and Regidrago, which are big decks. Even today, in the Japanese metagame right now, these are big decks. Every V-Star, and obviously every V as well, is going to be rotating out. We've not had many V-Maxes in the format. They had largely rotated out. But there had been a couple hangers on, things like Zera or a VMAX, for instance. All the VMAXs have now rotated out. They're all gone. Every single Radiant Pokemon, like Greninja, which has blatantly been the best of them, every single Radiant Pokemon has now rotated out. There will be no more Radiant Pokemon. Every single Radiant Pokemon has rotated out. So again, we got this nice thing where, is it a V-Star or V-Max? It's gone. Is it an EX? It's still in the format, because every single EX is a Scarlet and Violet card, so that remains. And we are going to see a gigantic shake-up of the metagame. Now, I went into this in more detail in my video the other day when I told you what the rotation was going to be, so go and check that one out. But just as a quick little note, we are losing entire decks. Regidrago is gone because Regidrago rotates. Lugia is gone because Lugia rotates. Gardevoir technically doesn't rotate. Well, I mean, it doesn't. We've still got Gardevoir itself, but we're losing the Curlier because the Curlier was in Silver Tempest. And I'm not saying Gardevoir can't work without the Curlier, but I absolutely am saying that draw engine on Curlier is one of the things that's made the Stage 2 deck of Gardevoir be consistent enough to compete. I'm really not sure whether Gardevoir can survive without Curlier. So we got some decks, like Regidrago and Lugia, where they're just flat rotating. But then we've got Gardevoir, which I think is the biggest kind of indirect casualty, whereby Gardevoir itself survives, but one of the biggest, most important parts of that deck is rotating out. So technically Gardevoir's fine, But in reality, Gardevoir is not fine, not by a long shot. Obviously, any Lost Zone deck is now gone. Lost Zone is a thing of the past because, well, we've lost the entire Lost Zone engine. Every Lost Zone card is going away. So from things like Comfey that you're using as your kind of draw engine for the deck, that's obviously going away. But then things like Mirage Gate to accelerate energy when you've got cards in the Lost Zone, like the whole Lost Zone mechanic. And it does tend to cycle around and come back, and I'm sure it'll come back at some point. But right now, the Lost Zone is just not a thing in the Pokemon TCG once we hit the rotation. And then there's going to be a whole bunch of other big cards as well. Like I say, I went into this more in detail the other day, so I'll link that video in the description. Go and check it out. This is going to be a big rotation, but it is at least going to be a very clean rotation. Going to Scarlet and Violet on, essentially. No, it's not even essentially. It literally is Scarlet and Violet on. When they started printing Scarlet and Violet cards, they changed the border and the regulation mark. Well, they changed the border in the West, at least. It is going to make things a lot cleaner. It is now official. The headline is this. In Japan, they rotate to regulation mark G onwards on the 24th of January, which is a date the Battle Partners becomes legal. I am 100% sure that we are going to have the exact same thing, but it's just going to be the day our Scarlet and Violet 9 becomes legal, which is 2 days after the release, whenever that might be. For now, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know your thoughts about the rotation. I want to know whether you're losing the deck which you've been playing for a while, and that's a bit sad. Let me know all of this in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And of course, get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Kanto Royalty, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.